Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Maggie and Ferocious Mondays. Today, we will be reviewing our last segment of the second episode of Maggie and the Ferocious Beast. Season 1, Episode 2C, What's in a Laugh? In this episode, Hamilton becomes upset when the Beast points out that he snorts when he laughs. Feeling self-conscious, Hamilton retreats into his box and refuses to come out to play. Maggie and Beast then try to cheer him up and lure him out by making silly paper hats. Now, this episode, for the most part, I really do like it, but I mean, okay, let me get to my positives before I go on to my critiques. Okay, my positives. I love seeing the book, the little picture book, and I love seeing baby Hamilton and baby Beast in the little photo album, which is really cute. Also, I really like how when Maggie showed up, she explained her absence, and she explained that she had to finish her chores, which comes to show you that, even though it may look like she spends all of her time in Nowhere Land, outside of Nowhere Land, she still has chores to do. She still has her own home life, which I really like that. I like that. That's good. Because, kids, they want to be in this their own made up little worlds, but then outside of their made up world, they still have responsibilities. So I like that. I really do like that. I also like the little paper hats they were making, I especially like Maggie's and the music in the background that plays whenever Maggie's making her witch hat. I loved it. I loved it so much. And Hamilton's sailor's hat was really cute as well. And I'm not gonna say what hat the Beast makes, but let's just say his horns are very much involved. That's all I'm gonna say. And which was really another funny moment is that when Hamilton was in his box and Beast was shaking him, trying to get him out. When Hamilton came out, he came out with a cake, and then he was like, "Look what you did to my 7-layer cake." And then there's only like 1 layer, and then the Beast says, "Are the other layers of the cake that short?" That was really funny. That was funny. And turns out he knocked the other ones over. And I like when Maggie mentioned the paper hats. Hamilton made up this excuse saying that, "I think there's too much dust in my box. I better get out." Which was, it was a little excuse. It was funny. So, okay, they're my positives, not my critiques. It's not really that. They mostly come between Hamilton. Mostly Hamilton. I was going to say the Beast, but then I really thought about it, but mostly Hamilton. Okay, so I like to say this. When Beast said that Hamilton snorts when he laughs, the way he said it, that it wasn't in like a mean way. And honestly, Hamilton was being a bit, I get it. He felt a certain way. He did, but just like our previous episode, Walk the Walk, Beast didn't. We have another episode from our previous episode that Beast didn't mean to do something on purpose. He really didn't mean to do it. It was just in his nature. He didn't know it was wrong. Just like, Walk the Walk, where he accidentally knocked down Sidestep's house. And like in this episode, he didn't know what he said was wrong. But Hamilton, I don't want to say full-on grudge, but he kind of has like a grudge against Beast, especially that scene where he says, "Hamilton, I'm lonesome," and then he says, "Too bad," and he says it just like that. And at that moment, I'm like, look, he really didn't mean it. He didn't mean it, honestly. That's why, sometimes, now you might be shocked hearing me say this. Most of the time, I'm very happy that Maggie, whenever these two have their little problems, their little squabbles, Maggie will always be the one to solve everything and make those two make up, or, I wouldn't say not become friends again, because they're still friends, but just, Maggie will forever be the peacemaker of this group. But my critique is, sometimes when she's not there, sometimes, these two have to make amends on their own, But, like, sometimes, in my advice, the peacemaker of your so-called group is not always going to be there, And I don't want to say I blame Hamilton. Of course not. But, all I'm trying to say is, here's how I'm, here's how I say it. Like, look, he didn't mean to say that. He didn't. Yes, he accidentally messed up your cake. Something he did not know you was making a cake. Because you know why? Because he cannot fit in that box. He can't fit in there. Okay? Now, if he could see what you were doing in that box, that would be a different story. But, and him just saying, what really got me was just him saying, I'm lonesome. Too bad. That part, the episode just really, it just didn't, it's just, I didn't like that, it just made me feel sad for the Beast, but I don't know how to feel about Hamilton. Do I feel sorry about how he feels? Because, yeah, sometimes we'll always have our insecurities. I will even say that even I sometimes have my insecurities. I do. I really, really do. But, sometimes I get insecure about, like, my, like, the way I interact, social life with other people. The way I, sometimes I even get insecure about my autism, my hyperactive disorders. Anything mentally, whenever somebody mentions it to me, I don't get all, like, riled up. Not saying he did. Not saying Hamilton did. But they won't mention, whenever people mention it, most of the time, I won't get upset. 90% of the time, I won't get upset nor offended because that's what I have. But when somebody, but when it's not towards me and some people are going at it at other people, and if I have the same thing that person does, I'll feel insecure about myself. So I can get where Hamilton's coming from, his insecurities. But remember, him and Beast were having a laugh. So, not saying he ruined the good time they were having, but just, I'm turning this into a whole thing. But all I'm saying is that I felt bad for Beast. Hamilton, I get it. He was insecure about his laugh. But at the same time, Beast did not mean it, And that part of the episode where he just says that I'm lonesome, too bad, that did not sit well with me. Because that's basically saying that, you're basically telling your friend that, well, you were the one that told me that insult, so now you have to learn your lesson the hard way. That's basically what he's trying to say in a nutshell. And I don't like that. I really don't like that, I don't. And it's not best to hide from your problems. Or, hey, and if, what? If it would have been better, if we're bringing up insecurities, how come, the Beast could have shared one of his insecurities? Like, his spots sometimes falling off whenever, like, some scenes of the show, his spots fall off whenever there's a long wind. And he could say that sometimes I don't feel like a ferocious beast without them. And what if that could have made Hamilton come out of his shell more and said, well, you're still a ferocious beast without your spots. So, that would have been a really good scene if we're, like, talking about insecurities, I turned this into a whole thing. I'm sorry. But, okay, sum it all up. This episode was good, but in the middle it had its problems. It's problems that didn't really sit well with me. And not saying I don't like the fact that Maggie fixed everything, because she always does. But sometimes I feel like when it comes to these two need to fix their problems a bit more often by themselves without Maggie. That's all I'm saying. Not saying, it's just a critique. It's not it's not flat out me saying, oh, why do you guys always need Maggie? Like, come on, you can solve this on your own. No, all I'm saying is that, look, Maggie's always not going to be there sometimes. So you guys have to solve this problem on your own. That's all I'm saying, you know? So, aside from that, I mean, the ending, I will say the ending was really cute. With them having a laugh, you know, Maggie tickling Hamilton. It was really, really cute. So overall, my critiques, I'm going to give this episode a decent 7. It was good, you know, it was good, but it's just, no, it was, I had some problems with it, but it was still a decent episode. That's all I'm going to say, decent. So, yeah. So, with this batch of episodes for our second episode, I will say Walk the Walk was my favorite. And the other 2 episodes were, well, you already heard my thoughts on Lemonade Stand. It was nothing wow. And this episode, it was good, but it kind of fell flat in the middle. But then it picked back up in the end. That's all I'm going to say. So overall, this was a good episode. I had my problems with it, but it wasn't a bad episode. It wasn't bad nor terrible. So, yeah. So this episode will have to fall in second place, Walk the Walk in first place, and the Lemonade Stand in last place. Because that episode, Lemonade Stand was just in the middle of the road, you know? But, yeah. So, with that, we are finished with our second batch of episodes, and that means we can finally move on to our third batch. So tune in with me next time as we will be reviewing our first episode of the first segment of the third episode of the show, season 1, episode 3A. Pack up your troubles. See you all next time. Great googly moogly.